Welcome to a new edition of the Uplift Start the Week, where we discuss subjects relevant to us women in an open and respectful manner. I am your host, Chani Schreibhand, founder and editor of the Uplift Jewish Women's Magazine. Hi, this is my special guest today, and it's Devorah Krasniansky. I hope I pronounced it right.
Yeah, that's my name.
And Devorah and I, this is our second try because I lost her original taping, which is a massive shame because we had such a great conversation. But I know that me and you can continue talking and talking and talking, which we said that right away. So you see, we got a second chance to talk. So Devorah Krasniansky lives in Miami, and now she's talking to me from New York. And we have I think we have a lot of the same things we want to achieve because we both talk a lot to that mid-age group. And I think that's what we really wanted to talk about today. So, hi, everybody, and let's begin. First, Devorah, if you could just give me a small introduction to yourself so that everybody could get to know you.
Chani, I'm really excited to be having this conversation again.
Okay.
And I so enjoy talking to you. So I'm Devorah Krasniansky, and I have this program called Jewish Women Talk About Midlife. And that's what we do. We talk about midlife, all aspects of midlife. We're talking about the emotional side, the physical side, and I bring in different experts to talk about it because it's such an important topic that there's so many of us in this many, many years span of midlife. And there's so much to talk about. I know that our parents didn't talk about it as much, and we're the kind of the pioneers to be talking about and exposing different issues and really trying to get the support and help so we can really enjoy this time and maximize from this time and be the pioneers so that our daughters and our husbands and our sons will kind of benefit from our work in this place.
Yeah, and that's so true because that is, I mean, in every place today, the midlife has become a very taboo. It was a taboo subject and slowly coming out of the closet, but still, it's very, very taboo. I mean, I find especially in our surround, in the frum community, the Jewish community, it is a little bit embarrassing to speak about. I think it's not so much. It's the the residue that it leaves with. So you have the menopause, you have all the different things that come with that stage in life, and I think that's why it's very, very people don't really talk about it. So let's first say I think get the first thing. It's called we'll say the name of the menopause. The menopause is like, oh my gosh, what's going to be? I'm going to become very, very old all of a sudden. Overnight, I'm going to wake up. I'm going to be this terrible, I'm going to be crying all the day, and I'm going to be very, very hot. And let's break that down a little bit and take away that stigma. So, what would you tell me a little bit on how you would take away that stigma?
So I'm definitely not a medical expert in any way. I have my own experience and the experience of those who've spoken to me. But I think that it's just it's another stage in life, in the same way that we had a lot going on for us when we moved from childhood to puberty to adolescence and then to a young adult life and then moving through. And there was a lot of hormones and there's a lot of confusion. I think that what happens at the same time at midlife or menopause specifically is there is definitely a hormone component. There's definitely coming with that is a change of life or responsibilities and roles all at the same time. And the truth is that many people that I've spoken to, when they go to their doctors and talk about all of this, many doctors are not yet, at least in the US. I know the UK is working on a different timetable, but at least in the US, many doctors still don't know what to do with menopause. And we hear it in the news all the time now that I'm listening out for these midlife and menopause alerts and updates in Google. There are many people talking about this in the general population and in the frum population that doctors don't really know what to advise. And some of the doctors are men who will never experience it firsthand. And if sitting in a webinar updated CME classes doesn't give them enough. So we're learning with the doctors, and I think that we have to be advocates for ourselves if there's something that the doctor says to us or doesn't resonate, I think we can push a little bit further. And we really have to be advocates for ourselves. That doesn't resonate, that doesn't sound right, that doesn't feel right. I tried that, and really push for ourselves, because there really isn't a lot of information.
Yeah, and it's funny that you're saying that. I mean, I remember telling you this last time when we spoke, but so for me, it's really interesting that you're saying that, because I don't remember. I mean, I know I told you, but because it's a repeat, I'll say it again. I had an experience. I was just coming up to this stage in life, and my last child had left home, and I was feeling tired. I wasn't well. I was always, I was down. Actually, I was going through all the typical changes, and I went to the doctor, and actually it was a woman doctor who must have been the same age as me. So I was actually quite shocked. So she gets me to put me in there. She goes, "Oh, you know what you need?" I said, "Yeah." She goes, "You need a dog." And I'm thinking, hold on, just wait a minute. I'm definitely entering a different stage in life. You don't tell the person you need a dog. You need a medication. You need something to help you. There are ways of dealing it. And I thought, that is what the problem is. Like you say, the doctors are not giving what we need. They're not open up to the company. I had to go back and report her and say, she gave me this information, and you see that it's not that. And actually, she was fired from the surgery, which was disgusting. But yeah, they took it seriously. They were upset that she had done that.
Right. Well, I mean, I'm not a medical expert in the least, but there are the medications, and then there are the lifestyle changes, and there's some combination, and there's the hormone replacement, and then different people have different opinions, and I'm not going to put my opinion into the mix with everybody, because I have just a personal opinion, not any medical experience with that. But there's so much, and I think the lifestyle is a big part of it. And that's sort of what we talk to. I have a podcast, like you have a podcast, and we talk to different experts, whether we're talking about the food that we should be eating, the exercise, the changing up what we do, our hobbies, and just trying new things and learning new things and expanding our mind, because we may have the time or not have the time, but still we may need that. So there's definitely all of that is so new to some people.
Yeah, and I think that's really important. I think that's really good that you're doing that. So, like, what kind of experts have you had? Let's say if somebody talks about food, we have different experts coming on that subject. Like, tell us a little bit about that.
So I had a few people talking about different food weight loss, which is for some people is an issue, and all of them will talk. It's not about the weight loss; it's about having a healthy body, and so. But still, for some people, losing weight would be for health, and for some people they just want to lose weight for the way it looks, and that's also good. So we talked about. Some people spoke about that. We spoke about. For some people, they want to change up what they do, whether it's the work or their hobbies or their volunteer. So how to find that. So I spoke to a few people about that. Tonight, I'm actually talking from a Gottlieb about making your marriage great again, because that is an issue for some people.
I think
Whether it's
that's
just
for a lot of people.
right, we kind of got into a rut. I'm really excited about that conversation. I had a couple conversations about intimacy and how that changes. So there's so many topics, and I have so many requests for other topics. So if anyone has any ideas for topics and or presenters on the topics, because there's so much to talk about.
It really, really is. And like, do you find that when you're speaking, and because you're speaking to a certain audience, it's harder to sometimes speak about certain issues? And do you let's say you said you spoke about intimacy, how did you address that? Were you open on that subject, or how was that hard for you?
So for that topic of actually, I had so many questions come in that I kind of molded my personal life into the other topics. I also have to consider that there was my family and my husband, so there's only so much that I could share without without hurting them or putting them into the story. But I personally can talk about it, individually. I find that the more we share, the more vulnerable we are, the more help that we can get, and the more human we seem to other people. And I just feel like the more questions we can ask, the more insights we can be getting.
Yeah,
And sharing and learning together and with other people, I feel makes it easier for those who are not willing yet to be open. So I feel like I'm being open on behalf of other people.
yeah, it's true. It's really true. So when we talk about things like pivot, changing your jobs and things like that, I think that's a really big issue. I think that what happens when you get to this certain time of your life, all of a sudden, like you say, for me it was my children left home, my mind started looking different. What can I do? How can I occupy myself that it should be more exciting or whatever? What did you have a pivot? I know what I did, but did you pivot in that?
Well, I'm pivoted to be doing this. I was doing coaching for a while in shidduchim and just general life. And then as I got to midlife and my peers got to midlife and we're looking for answers. And so on the one hand, I'm bringing just experts because I just don't know about nutrition as much as I ought to. And I certainly am not going to be the teacher on that. So I'm learning together with the experts that I'm bringing in and asking questions on behalf of other people. But yeah, so I'm spending more time in the midlife space and coaching more women in the midlife than, let's say, dating. I'm doing that too, but I'm finding this really exciting.
Do you find that this is taking over that?
Yes, in a good way.
I think that's what happens when you get something that you get really excited about. All of a sudden, you realize, hold on, you know, that was before. This is now, and I think that's what anyone could do. We could go back to college. If you People say, "Oh, what am I going to get from going back to college?" Well, actually, you'll open your mind. It's all about opening your mind, having new hobbies and new things. It really does make a difference, and it's not just something that I'm saying because, well, you need to fill your time. It's not about that. It's actually we need that. I think our brains need that work. Need to look into new things, need to grow and expand.
Right. And we have the opportunity because our life is changing and we have so many more years in this second half of our life, and we ought to be doing things that feel meaningful to us. Or for some people, they feel like they want to leave a legacy, they want to leave something to the
Yeah.
world. And so there's so much that, and for everyone that looks different. And if the first half of your life you weren't doing something that felt meaningful, or it felt meaningful at the beginning and now doesn't feel meaningful, we can change. Just because we invested $60,000-$100,000 into education or into a business or to whatever it is, and it doesn't feel meaningful anymore. I think that what happens in midlife is that people are looking for meaning. They're also looking to make money, because I think that our firm world is a little bit different than the general world, which says, fine, now you can like slow down and volunteer. I think that some of us have major expenses coming up and we want to be able to contribute to our children's lives. So we can't necessarily slow down and do more volunteering, but we still can be looking for work that is meaningful and kind of balance it out. And that's what I talk to when I talk to people. That's a lot of what we talk about, is how to find something that's meaningful and possibly profitable, and or finding something meaningful for a small part of the day, but finding something meaningful. I find that's what a lot of people are looking for, is that shift from I'm doing this because I have to what resonates with me.
100%. It's like, and like you say, what you did years ago is not what I was a hairdresser. I was a florist. Those are beautiful things and everything, but I don't think I would enjoy them as much now as I enjoyed them then. I had more kayak and more, you know what I mean?
And then there are people who want to go into Florida. They just want to be surrounded by beauty and flowers and making people's simchas wonderful,
Yeah,
beautiful.
100%.
You can shift into and out of
It was a change. I think when we start realizing that, our parents are getting older, and we also start seeing, that life is not as long as we had hoped it would be. For me, it was my mother died. So, all of a sudden you realize that there are limits. So you want to catch up as much as you can. And like you say, leave a legacy in any way you can so that your children will remember. I think that's actually a big part of it for me.
For some people, it's their children. For some people, it's the community. They want to leave something for the community. I don't think it's coming from ego. I think it's not coming from ego. It's coming from, what was my purpose? It's not like, oh, I want to leave. It's like,
Yeah,
now
yeah.
that I was here, what will be left because I was here?
I think
For some people, it's still ego, and that's okay too. But it's when we're saying it's like, what can we contribute to the community? I have 30, 40 years of adult life. What can I give from that to the community or to other people? And for some people, they don't ask that question, and that's also fine. Everyone goes through life in different ways.
yeah, everyone has their own needs, definitely. And what would you say for yourself when you get up? How do you manage your own day of feeling, oh, I can't? So how would you like get up and push yourself to do things? Because that is a major part of this age group, that we do wake up and we some days say, I just can't do it. I'm not in the mood. I'm going back to sleep. Leave me alone in my little blanket. You know, some of us do that. And what do you do on that?
So I'm a morning person, so I don't really have that as much as some other people do. I really have scheduled, my morning is scheduled. I can't say my full day is always scheduled in advance, but my morning is scheduled with the morning walk, with my breakfast. So like, that is scheduled. No matter where I am, I really try to get a walk. I mean, weather permitting. So like if I'm in Miami or in New York or even in Israel, like wherever I am, I try to get some walk in. And then when I found out that I have the beginning of osteoporosis and the doctor tells me that I should do the walk, it's more of a reason. So like, I know some people will still not use that enough as a motivation, but for me, the walk is very important.
It's important.
That's how, and once I'm up, then I'm up. And I think that that's one thing, is like kind of just getting the first thing structured into the day.
Yeah, I think you're right on that. I'm actually the opposite of you. I'm a night person, and I'll be texting people at 3 o'clock in the morning because I'm a night person. And for me, getting up in the morning is actually really sometimes difficult. So what I end up doing is doing all my work from my bed in the morning, and then continuing my day, which is not always healthy because I should go out for a walk. I'm trying a little bit now to get more exercise in. So I think, I mean,
I hope you don't do it for a health scare. Just do it because it's good for your mental health, not a physical health.
It is good for me. I got a bike behind me. You see my bike?
Oh, I see that. Yeah.
I'm supposed to hide it with my head, but yeah, but that's it. I think if we all get these little things that we could do, little routines that get us past this stage of feeling, oh, I just can't. Because there are ways, I mean, there is the other side of the coin. And Baruch Hashem, I mean, I'm personally coming out to the other side of the coin. So meaning I've gone through the hit of it. I got most of that out of my system. And now I'm coming to the second side, which is post-menopause, which is slightly different. That you don't start feeling, well, that's the tiredness, and maybe you don't feel these heat flushes and all that. So you do cut through it. Believe me, you do get through it.
I mean, that's what we hear. I guess I'm still moving through it.
Yeah, it takes a good 10 years, I think.
Yeah, that's what the literature says. 10
really
plus
does.
years for some people.
Yeah, and there are medications, like you said, there are medications that and I think there's black kahash, which is what's it called?
The herbs.
An herb or something. Yeah, there's so much you could do. There really is. There is what you could do.
We actually did an episode about different herbs that are available, and it was very helpful to some people.
Yeah, there is. You know what? I had somebody, one of the people who wrote in my magazine, actually, it's called Dahlia Brunswick. So she wrote an article, and one of the things that she told us about was this magic drink. And I thought, oh, come on, there's no such a thing as a magic drink. But it's coconut milk. I'm writing it over here, and I'll put it underneath the talk because it always makes me feel much better. It's coconut milk, which you warm up, and you put in, I think, like a tablespoon or a teaspoon of turmeric, of ginger, of I'm trying to remember, honey, and what else was there? I remember, I'll put it in the thing down on below. Anyways, you mix it up, you drink it warm. Oh, and coconut, that's what it was. Coconut oil. So you take like a tablespoon of that, and you cook this all up, this concoction, and you drink it. cinnamon, also cinnamon, I'm telling you slowly, it's coming back.
Right.
And
I guess you're not doing this
anytime,
every day if you're not
no,
remembering.
you only have to take it twice a week. But
Mhm.
whenever I'm feeling really schwach or, not good, my husband will say, "Did you drink the magic potion?" And it really does work.
So
So
interesting.
yeah, it's good to know. Anyway, on that, let's pass by that good information. But tell me something. How many times a week do you do this? Or once a month? What's your schedule on the podcast?
Podcast. Quite often, I feel like there's so much to learn, and so many people are eager to share with others, and that's what's so wonderful about it. So I do it as I can, or as the schedule allows. Sometimes it's once or twice a week, and then I don't necessarily always drop them exactly. Like over Pesach, I didn't do it, so I was able to drop some other episodes
Yeah,
as. But there's so much to learn, and I'm really enjoying the learning with and for other people, and just promoting it. So it's all on the website jewishmidlife.com, and there's so many episodes there. I think we've done in the last 6 months, probably 30.
wow, that's fantastic. I'm not so yuckish about it. I first started, I'll do it every week, and I was really good, and I interviewed, and then it petered off. So now you're the first one after Pesach. So you are our first port of call. And so now you're in New York,
Right.
right? Enjoying your, am I right?
Children. My
Your
grandchildren
your
are in New York.
grandchildren, and that's also another part of this age. The enjoying. I know my grandchild. She comes. I gave her a bath or whatever. She catches a new baby, and it's quite an exciting part of this age. I don't know if you felt that way, but I definitely felt it. And what I feel very much is that you're sitting and you're looking down. It's like a second generation, so you don't have the responsibility, but yet it's really special. Do you feel
It's
that?
wonderful. It's wonderful. And I love seeing that, how my kids are such wonderful parents to their kids. And it's just nice to see that the next generation is taking on our family values and our family cuckoo-ness also. That's who we are.
Yeah, that's what we want, don't we? That's what you want. That's what you want. Anyway, I'm going to start ending this because we're coming up to the half hour, and I try to keep them as a half hour. But before we do, I'd love you to give one like really good tip or something that we could, give to the audience who's listening and who wants to know that they're not going to have the end of their life because of this stage of life. I think that's really what we want to bring out, that it's not, it's a beginning, it's not an end.
It's a wonderful beginning, actually, because we have so much new that's available to us. And I think that's a wonderful time to be in midlife as opposed to like 100 years ago when there wasn't the medicine. And actually, we have 30, 40, 50 years that we can still live. And I think that we should really make it a wonderful time, explore different things. I think it's so wonderful to try things that we would never try just for the trying of it, expand our mind and say, I tried, but you may find some new hobbies or some new friends or some new interests, but at the very least, you're expanding yourself and trying new things. Some of us held ourselves back as we were building our lives. And now it's like, I can try new things. I can be who I can be, or it's just such a wonderful time. Yes, there was definitely for some people, there's some real physical
It's
aspects to it. And then there's even some mental aspects. Some people really go through mood changes, but just knowing that it's all part of life in the same way that we came over our adolescence. There are some people who call this the middle essence, and it has a very similar aspects to it. The hormones and the identity changes and who am I? What do I want to be? We overcame that. We saw our kids can overcome that, more or less. We overcame it more or less
oh.
and survived. Well, and we can really do this. And I think that we should do it together, like not to hold it in secret, not to hold the challenges in secret. I think that in the same way that we're going through something, our friends and our peers are going through something. And I think that opening up, we don't have to do it alone. It helps them not have to do it alone. And then we can all just make this into this. We are doing this together and we're really flourishing through it, through the harder parts, but there's wonderful through it and after it.
It's so true. It's really true. And my piece of advice, my 2 cents to it would be, you know, every day when you wake up, just think, I really think you have to think to yourself, this is not, I have so much to give today. Okay, if I don't feel great, I'll take it easy, but there's tomorrow, there's another whole day in front of me. Don't, you could get on with it. You could do, and there's so many groups today online, especially actually in the film world. There's JWOW with an apostrophe at the end, so it's JWOW with an apostrophe. They do loads of people get together on it and they talk, which is really nice. There's so many different places today available, and I think we should use these facilities. We're really lucky that we have the internet today that we could use for good, and this is the good part of what the internet has to offer. We have so many things in the Jewish world especially that is giving advice to people and helping people, and don't keep it in, talk, definitely.
Right. So that's what we have, like on my Facebook. The Facebook group is also a place for conversation. So it's Jewish women midlife.
Share that so that we could,
I share what I learn and when I share what I know. Like this, like May is Mental Health Awareness Month, at least in the US. I don't know if it gets to the UK. And so I'm sharing different mental health issues that are specific to midlife. Like the whole thing is that it's midlife and for Jewish women. So our nuances are different. And so I think they're talking about it from as nuanced as we are, from our space and our clutches and our issues, which is different from the general population. I think that's really important piece.
Very different, because when they're talking about it, they're not having little babies running around, and it's not the same. They really are not in that. It's because the family dynamics are so different, and by us, we are always getting together on. It's not once a year, Christmas time, Xmas time. It's every few weeks. We have some other kind of holiday or something, and it's a really it's again all the emotions get together, and you're trying to cook, and you're trying to run the house, and you're trying to have the kids.
Or not. Oh, you decided you don't want to cook anymore.
Yeah,
but that's a whole different conversation.
Yeah, but it all comes together, and like you say, I think that's great. If you put your the Facebook group, that's great, and we have loads going on all the time. In the Uplift magazine, we have loads of different stuff. We have a WhatsApp group. We have just different things that people could take part of. And if I'll put some of the stuff below our talk. Anyway, thank you so much, Devorah, for coming.
This is so great. Thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
And it was really nice to catch up again. And I can't wait to speak to you another time, but not the same time like this. Not like a redo. I can't.
All right.
Anyway, thank you so much, Devorah, and I'll see everybody next time when we have another issue of the Uplift magazine podcast.
Great. Thank you. Have a wonderful evening.